Hi guys, welcome back to another reading vlog. I'm really excited to start this one because I feel like I'm tackling my TBR with this and it's making me very happy. So if you don't know, I have a lot of books on my to be read calyx here essentially, and a lot of the times I buy books and I buy all of these books because I do want to read them, but for some reason I just end up avoiding them and skipping over them and reaching for maybe something that's new, something that fits a reading vlog theme, or just something else I'm interested in. So we're here today to read some books that I've been avoiding on my TBR, and I feel like this is a great way for me to kind of go back on books that I maybe hauled 2 years ago and look at those and be like, hey, should probably read these. And you never know, I could find a 5-star, I could find a book that I'm like, you know what, glad I avoided that one. So I have 4 books here to start with this reading vlog, and I feel like this could totally become a series in the future that I have just been avoiding. And here's the thing, all 4 of these books I've been excited to read and I have wanted to read, and I just haven't. And here they are. I'm sure you're like, me too, girl. So I have Holly Jackson's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I figured this would be perfect since the show just came out on Netflix and I've heard it's amazing. Why have I been avoiding it? Babe, I don't know. Bunny by Mona Awad. I've been avoiding this because I feel like I don't know if I'm gonna like it. I'm nervous about it, but it's in here. I need to read it. My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I have another Stephen Graham Jones that I also want to read, but then I've also heard that people are like, his writing isn't for everybody, but I've also felt like I would really like this little trilogy. I need to give it a try. It's a trilogy. I need to give it a try. And then last, but certainly not least for this video, Fourth Wing. Why have I been avoiding it? Because I just have this feeling I'm going to love it. And that is not a good enough excuse. Alrighty guys, so it's actually only been a day and I'm already 50% of the way through this book. To be fair, I've had a lot of time to read, so normally it's not like this. Last night I read all of part 1, and then just now I sat down after the kids got home from school and I'm about halfway through, probably like 75% of the way through part 2. So I definitely feel like today I'll finish part 2 and I'll probably get a good chunk of part 3 done as well. But I'm really enjoying it. It's a super easy read, as most YA books are. But we're following Pip, and she chose to do her like senior project, which, like, did you guys have senior projects? I know Brian did, I didn't. But basically her senior project on like investigating this murder that happened in their town 4 years ago. A senior girl was murdered, like super popular senior girl, by her boyfriend, and then he subsequently unalived himself, and she doesn't believe he did it. So she's like going into a deep dive, and we're kind of following her around as she's like goes around being a little detective and a little sleuth. And it's really fun because she's not really a detective, she's a senior in high school, so she's doing a lot of things very like illegally and interviewing people, and it's really fun to follow. It's a really good time, and we're meeting a whole cast of characters that I'm really enjoying. She's brought along the boyfriend's younger brother because he obviously wants to like get his brother's name written off, and it's just been really fun so far. I'm really enjoying it. We're following kind of mixed media, so we are following from like a third point of view perspective, but that in that we're getting Pip's notes, interviews, and just recently we saw like some planner stuff, some like, I don't know, dates and things in a planner, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I definitely feel like, I felt like I really had like a person in mind that I thought it was, and I still kind of feel like it's this person, but I don't know, because I thought it was this person, she briefly brought them up and was like, maybe it's this person, and then kind of like wrote it off. So I'm like, is it really wrote off? Because I still feel like it's this person. I'll let you guys know if I'm correct, but I'm not going to give you any other spoilers or any spoilers at all. But yes, I'm really enjoying it. I do think I'm going to end up, I think it's a trilogy, so I do think I'm going to end up reading the second book as well, and this is making me really excited because I feel like I'll totally start the show like soon because I'm really enjoying it. So far so good, and I'm sad that it has sat on my TBR for so long because it's a good time. Alrighty, so I finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I feel like every time I think about talking about this book, I say How to Get Away with Murder. Two different things. So if I've said that multiple times in this video, two different things. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Immediately already ordered the second one. It'll be here tomorrow. This was a really fun read, and obviously it's YA, so it's a lot easier to read, but you're following kind of like mixed media, a mystery. It's very, 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 very fast paced, which I enjoy. I read a lot of reviews after finishing this, and a lot of people said that they found Pippa to be like annoying, and honestly I found her character to be like super endearing. She's a kid, you have to read it as like she's a kid, and I liked the mystery of this. I will say I did give it 4.5 stars. First and foremost, I did really enjoy it, so I'm glad that I finally read it. I'm glad I didn't put it off any longer. Now I like want to start the show with my husband. But two, I was right about the initial twist. The person that I had thought it was. And I feel like maybe it's because I've read so many thrillers that I just genuinely kind of had this like feeling, the way that Holly Jackson had wrote this character. It just felt like we're getting very little information, but it's a main player. But there was a lot of twists at the end that I didn't see coming, and the story ended up just being so sad, realistically, in the long run of the things. But I really enjoyed following Pip. I liked the way that she did this, and I'm interested to see. I didn't even actually read what Good Girl Bad Blood's about, but I know that this town that they live in, Fairview, which is very much so giving like, weirdly this is giving like Pretty Little Liars vibes, but not really, but just like the town being like full of just like dark, deep, bad judgment characters gives me that vibe. So I'm interested to read the next book. I definitely think I'm going to read it, not soon, but it's getting added to the TBR. It'll be here tomorrow, and I'm really happy I read this one. So the fact that I've been avoiding this one, I had this on my TBR for over 2 years because I bought it. It was like one of the first big batches of books that I bought when I got back into reading, and it's just been sitting there. This is why you should pick up books on your TBR that you haven't touched in a while, because they could be good. So this was amazing, and I'm just really, really happy. And now let's go ahead and get into the next book. Alrighty, so I am back with another part of this reading vlog, and I feel like this reading vlog is holding true to its name because I finished a book 2 days ago, and I was like, I should probably read more for this reading vlog, but I like don't want to pick up any of the books. It's holding true. I'm still avoiding them. So I made Brian choose, my husband, the next book out of the 3, and he chose My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. This is the first in the Indian Lake trilogy. I feel like I'm gonna like this, but I just keep avoiding it. I've heard post buying this book that some of like Stephen Graham Jones writing can be a little bit weird, or like, I don't know if difficult's the correct word, but I know it's different. And I have the I Was a Teenage Slasher, and so I feel like I need to get through this, see if I like this, which I think I will, and we'll move on. So I'm gonna start with this one, and then I'll let you know what it's about once I get started. And let's cross our fingers I like it as much as I liked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I keep thinking How to Get Away with Murder, and that's not right. So if I've said that at all, it's not right. Let's go start this. Alrighty, I'm here to update you on My Heart is a Chainsaw. I'm about 110 pages in right now. I think it's like almost 30%. I don't know if I like this. I'm just so confused. And I know I said this before, but I think I get what people are saying about Stephen Graham Jones and his writing. It is very embellished. There's a lot of adjectives used and a lot of descriptors, and maybe that's not what they're talking about, but that's what I'm picking up. That's what I'm picking up. And so for like the first couple, well, the first chapter was really good. The first chapter really like brought me in. I was like really into it. And then now that we're like reading from Jade's point of view, I don't know if maybe it's her. I don't like her as a character, or if it's just like, there's just so many descriptions. So from my understanding of what's happening is we're following Jade Daniels, and Jade lives in this like small town. And this girl is like obsessed with slasher movies, but like not in the like fun obsessed where she like enjoys watching them. She thinks everything in life is a slasher movie, and she relates everything that's like happening to her or around her to like, oh, this is the start of a slasher. She lives next to this place called Camp Blood, which is like where an actual like slasher massacre happened like 50 years ago, and that's probably why she's obsessed with it. She lives in Indian Lake. This town is so small. They're building this like not town, but like this little like area, this like couple of streets next to this lake, Indian Lake, that she lives in, and it's like mansions. It's all like rich people are moving in, but Jade's convinced it's like the start of a slasher movie. She already has her like final girl picked out, and the part that I just stopped at is actually where this final girl finds a body in the lake. The lake is it is urban legendy, which I do like. There is like a couple of urban legends surrounding this lake, which I do enjoy, but you kind of really have to get around the detail, like the immense amount of details before you can get to some of this like stuff, which is a little frustrating. But in the first chapter, you're not even following Jade, you're following these two kids they're not kids, they're like teenagers from the Netherlands who are at this lake, and essentially like a slasher situation happens to them, and I don't know, it's just, that's where we're at. Like, I don't really feel like I know what's going on. I just know Jade is obsessed with slasher movies. She feels like she's living in one. She's wearing this Michael Myers mask while she's running around like stalking people, essentially, because she's convinced they are going to be like the main characters in this slasher. So I'm at this point where I do kind of like it, because something did just happen at the end of this last chapter that was really exciting and like fun to read about. But I just don't like our main character, and I feel like it's so hard when you don't like a main character to like a book, because like I don't like being in her mind. She's a lot, and it's like, all right, Jade, like pull it together. Like she's a lot. I'm hoping that it picks up for me personally. I know this is a lot of people's favorite books. This is a trilogy, and I feel like because the third book just came out this past year and everybody was talking about how obsessed they were with it, I feel like maybe I just need to kind of push through this in order to like it. But also, if I don't end up liking it, I'm going to be like highly disappointed, because it's almost it's a 400-page book. And I just feel like I'm trudging along. And I hate when I'm reading books and I'm just trudging along. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep going. Like I said, I just got to a part I do enjoy, so I'm hoping that it just kind of picks up for me. So I don't know. That's my thoughts so far. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll update you maybe when we get to like 50%, like 200 pages in, which I would like to get to tonight potentially, so maybe I'll update you tomorrow, but I don't know how I feel about it yet. My heart is not a chainsaw. This girl's weird. I don't like it. Hi, so I'm updating you from my youngest's bedroom. Isn't her bed so cute? This is the quietest space in our house right now. My kids have taken over everywhere. They're playing hide and seek. It's loud, and I was like, just don't hide in Rig's room, and I'm now in here to give you an update on My Heart is a Chainsaw. I'm about 70% of the way through right now. I'm on page 282. There's a little over 100 pages left that I would love to finish tonight, but I'm not gonna lie, I am beyond exhausted. Like, I swear the minute my head hits the pillow to even read, I might fall asleep. But I'm gonna try to finish this book tonight because I really want to. I feel like I came across a little harsh in my last update. Although my last update, I felt those feelings and I shared those feelings, and those feelings were real. But I am slowly, I don't want to say enjoying this, because I feel like enjoying is such not the right word for this book. I'm passively getting through this book. It's okay to me. I'm still on this mindset that I get that Jade, our main girl, is obsessed with slashers. So she's putting her town in a slasher in her mind. And I get that this is an obsession for her, but it's just like so difficult to see past that. It's like, oh my God, something's gotta give, you know what I'm saying? But there are like a few murders going on right now in her town, and I mean, our girl Jade seems to be correct on who the person is that's doing this, and she seems to be correct on the way it's happening and who's it gonna happen to next. So, you know, maybe she is obsessed, but like, she could make a good detective is all I'm saying. I will say it's still a little bit more of a difficult read. The flowery language is just, it's a lot of adjectives. It's just a lot of adjectives. But I'm understanding what's happening. I do say, the reason I also feel like I'm kind of, again, I don't want to say enjoying this, but the reason I am vibing with this is because she makes so many references to some 70s, but mostly 80s, 90s slasher movies. And I am a fan of a good slasher movie. I feel like the slasher genre is one of my favorite horror genres. So when she makes references to like Billy Loomis or the Mrs. Voorhees, or I Know What You Did Last Summer is right here, when she's making these like, and she makes a ton of Jaws references, I get exactly what she's saying, so I kind of understand that mindset. I think if you aren't a fan of those slasher movies, you're not gonna understand what she's talking about. But to be fair, a lot of the time I don't feel like I understand what she's talking about anyway. So like I said, I'm hoping to finish this tonight. I can hear the kids running, but I'll give you an update when I finish it. I'm trying to turn on my lamp and it's not working, but the lighting in here is very mediocre because it's like early morning. But I'm here with my final update on My Heart is a Chainsaw. So these are my words, and I'm eating them. So as you guys know, this entire book, I'm like giving it a 1 star because I'm just like so bored of Jade, and just this book is like a little wacky for a bit, but then we get to the like 75% mark and we're at the point where the killer is being revealed. I loved that. I thought, like, okay, if you know the type of books I like and the type of, like, I guess thriller, well, horror that I like, when it's revealed to be this specific type of thing, you'll know what I'm saying. I loved it. I was like, oh my god, I love this. It even like was really scary to the point where when like I finished this book, it was late at night. It was like 10:30. I'm usually asleep by 9:45, 10. Everyone in the house is asleep. It's quiet. I can't sleep because I'm spooked. I love when a book does that to me. So ultimately I gave it 3 stars because it's not going to be a 5-star book just because the final like twist or the final reveal is so good, because like the first 75% I'm like, what am I reading? But I really did like the reveal. I thought it was very good, really spooky. I really enjoyed it. And then like the end was very strange, but I felt like it like kind of countered and also went along with how strange this book was as is. So again, ultimately giving this a 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite read, but I do think it is a worth it read to get to that reveal because I thought it was spooky. I also feel like if you're planning to read this, I would read this in the summer because it's like set in the summer, set around July 4th, and I feel like that would have been really ideal for me. Now with that being said, this is a trilogy, and I don't know if you've read this trilogy or if you've read this book and the second one already. Should I keep going, or is it a lot of the same? Because if it's to the point where I'm just like reading and it's like obsessive Jade, but then we get a good reveal, I might consider it, but also, is it worth it? So should I continue this series? Let me know. Ultimately giving this one a 3 stars. So now, because I feel like that kind of book, like reading that always put me in a slump, but I was pushing through because I want to get through these books before the end of September, because in October I'm reading all horror and I'm so excited. So next, I'm starting Bunny by Mona Awad. I've had this on my TBR for such a long time and I just keep like avoiding it, the whole point of this video. And I don't know if I'm going to love it. And like, here's the thing, I don't buy books being like, I don't think I'm gonna like it, because that's silly. That's a waste of money. I always buy books thinking I'm going to like it. And I bought this one forever ago thinking this would be up my alley, but the more time that it has sat on my TBR, the more I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, and I'm so nervous. I know it's a weird book. It is a little over 300 pages, so it's relatively short. It looks like it's broken up into 3 parts, which I do like because I tend to read like a part a day or a part a night. So I'm gonna start this one next. As far as I know, it's about like this group of girls that are called bunnies, and there's like an outsider who joins them and everything is weird. That's all I know. All I know is it's weird. All I know is it ends crazy and everybody either really likes it or really hates it. So I've never read anything from Mona Awad. From what I've heard, all of her books kind of are on the same path of weird. So like, if I really like it, there's a bunch of options, and if I don't like it, I'll move along. So I'm gonna be starting Bunny by Mona Awad today, and I'll let you know what I think, obviously. Hi, so I never updated you on Bunny and I've finished it. And that's not to say that like I read it really quickly. It took me way too long to read this book. And again, not a bad thing. I think I'm going through a reading slump, and I feel like this video makes the most sense for me to be going through a reading slump because I just feel like I've been avoiding these books, and that just makes sense. But I have finished Bunny. I gave it 3 stars. Basically, in this book, we're following Samantha, who is a student, a college student, going to school for like poetry and writing. And there's this group of girls that she calls the bunnies and like kind of makes fun of them, but they're very like cultish. And one day she's invited to go to one of their like little house parties, I suppose. And although she makes a ton of fun of them, she is genuinely like, she's jealous. She wants to be a part of this group. So she goes and she ends up joining the bunnies, and it's definitely not what meets the eye. There is a lot of weird shit going on. And reading the Goodreads reviews, a lot of people say that this feels like a fever dream, which it 100% does. Like while you're reading this, like I don't know, like things just get like slowly like weirder, and not weirder, but like slowly like more fuzzy. Like it feels like you're in a dream. It feels like fever dream. You're watching this clearly, and then it's all of a sudden things just start getting fuzzy, and you're just like, and what I'm like, is what I'm reading really happening right now? So it gets like complicated and complicated, and then it all leads up to this like point, and then it kind of just ends, and everyone says the end is weird, and I agree. But I also find that, okay, I'm gonna try and like keep my thoughts together, because if I would have updated you midway through this book, I feel as though my thoughts would have been more consistent. You know, I started this book, I was really interested. When you find out what the bunnies are actually doing, I thought that was kind of cool. I'm not cool. Cool is probably not the appropriate word. I wish we dived into that a little bit more. I wanted to know a little bit more of that backstory. I needed to know exactly what was going on, because that was just a little, it was weird. It was a little weird, and I kind of quite liked it. But then things kind of go off the rails. Samantha doesn't really want to be a bunny anymore because of things, and wants to go back to the life she was living, and she just can't anymore. And I felt like when it comes to the head, when it comes to the ending, and you know, the whole ending, yeah, the ending was weird. And what I took away from the ending was I felt very sad. I felt like that, like, I guess it was a reveal, was just kind of sad. And I felt so bad for Samantha. I don't really know if she's ever gonna get a real conclusion to her story. And that was just kind of awful, honestly. I just felt really bad for her. Yes, it was weird, but it was just kind of sad. And I decided on 3 stars. The whole time I'm reading this, you know, I definitely felt it was very 2-star for me. I will say, yes, the story was weird. Yes, it felt like a fever dream, but you really have to be a good author, a good writer to make a reader feel that way. So I definitely commend Mona Awad for that, because the writing was so beautifully like done that like, it just, I don't know, like I didn't know what was going on, but like the author knew what was going on. So yeah, ultimately 3 stars. This was something. I don't know if I'm gonna pick up anything else from Mona Awad. I know most of her books are like this, and I'm glad to have read this. I'm glad to finally have, you know, stopped avoiding it long enough to have picked it up and read it. But it was a book. That's just all I'll say there. Now, moving on. Last night I did go ahead and start Fourth Wing. I will say I'm 1 chapter in. I read 20 pages, and that's not to say that Fourth Wing is bad. That's to say that I was tired last night, so I read a chapter and was like, I need to go to bed. I'm falling asleep. Of the chapter that I read, I did enjoy it. The writing is very easy to understand. From my understanding, we're following Violet, first person point of view, which I quite love. And she is being forced to be a part of the Riders Quadrant, which are the people that I guess try and ride these dragons in this world, because her mom wants her to be a rider. Her mom is a general of this war college. Her older sister is an esteemed rider, and her father, who I presume has passed away, I think they said it in the book already, he was a scribe, so he worked in the library, and she really wanted to go to school to be a scribe, but they forced her to be a writer. And honestly, like, I feel that. I would have wanted to be a scribe as well. So like I said, I'm only a chapter in, but she just kind of, I guess, signed up to be a writer at this point, and we're gonna see if she can make it, which I'm assuming she can, because this is a pretty thick book. But I'm actually about to do some reading sprints, so I'm hoping to get like 100 more pages into this by the end of my reading sprints, and then hopefully get even more, 100 more pages into it by the end of tonight. I would love to be like here by the end of tonight, you know what I mean? So so far I'm enjoying it. I mean, I'm a chapter in, but I can see why people like it. The writing's really easy to read, and we've met our dude that I've heard so much about, Zayden, I'm assuming. We've met him, so that's cool. It feels like it's gonna be an enemies to lovers sitch, which I kind of love. So I'm gonna be honest, I've been avoiding this book because, and this is the stupidest reason, I know I'm gonna love it. Is that not the dumbest thing? Like, I know I'm gonna love that book, so I'm not gonna read it, but like, I just knew I was gonna like this book. I'm already in the midst of a couple fantasy series, so I feel like that's kind of why I was avoiding it so much. But I know I'm gonna like this, and I'm disappointed in myself for not starting it sooner. But like I said, I have sprints here in like an hour and a half, so kind of dive into this a bit more. Hi. So I just finished filming my September reading wrap-up, which is why I look the same, but I figured I could end this reading vlog. So I didn't update you hardly ever, if at all, during Fourth Wing, and that's because I read it so quickly. So I read the first like 100 pages or so on reading sprints, which was really fun, and then I kind of just devoured it the rest of the time. I was sitting downstairs at the dining room table. It felt like I was a kid again reading it, and I think that really added to what I'm about to say. It's a 5-star. It really is. It's so good. It just, like, the writing's really easy to read. The world building is really easy. I really enjoyed Violet's character. I really liked that, like, light disability representation. I like Zayden. I like a lot of these people so much, and I really cared about this, and I tried to explain this in my September reading wrap-up if you watched that, but the way I felt about this book was the way I felt when I read Harry Potter as a kid. I needed to know everything, and I needed to be invested in like everything that was going on, and I loved all the information that we got, and I really was interested in the story, and the cliffhanger that we left off on, I was really enjoying this. Like, the fact that I put it off for so long, I think, is only due to the fact that I've heard nothing but like bad things about Iron Flame. But I know the next book comes out in January, so I feel like I need to read Iron Flame quickly, because I just feel like this is going to be such a good series. Do we know how long this series is going to be? Is it just a trilogy? Let me know. I'm interested. But yeah, I really enjoyed Fourth Wing. It was good. I'm not shocked about it. I feel like out of all of the books I read in this reading vlog, Fourth Wing is easily the best. And then it's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then probably My Heart is a Chainsaw, and then I would put Bunny last. It's just so good. I don't know why I avoided it for so long, because it is so good. But I am really nervous about Iron Flame. I'm thinking about doing a continuing series that I've started vlog soon, and I'm thinking I might include Iron Flame because I kind of want to read it quickly. I'm currently reading all the horror books on my TBR right now, but like once I'm done with that, I might have to dig back into this world, because I don't know, I felt like the pacing was really good. I felt like we were just really there, and it was good. That's the best explanation I can really give. So that's the end of this reading vlog. I definitely feel like this is going to end up being a series, because I have a lot of books on my TBR that I don't know why, I just keep passing over them. I just keep avoiding them, if you want to put that word out there. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.